What's going on, everybody? My name is TAETRO, and today I'm going to be showing off Roli Studio Drums. Let's check it out. Alright, first things first, if you enjoy live electronic music performances, tutorials, and content to make you a more productive producer, you should click the subscribe button down below. If you're interested in videos on the Roli Studio Player, you should go check out this last video I did, creating a beat with the blocks and talking about the Studio Player. But Roli has sponsored today's video so that I can show off the Blocks Studio Edition along with the Roli Studio Drums. If you've seen some of my videos before with the blocks, you know that these are some of the most versatile, portable MPE controllers around. And the Roli Studio Drums plugin that I'm going to be showing you today unlocks the power of these blocks, but it's also the world's first MPE Drums plugin. Let me show you how it works with the blocks and how it works in my DAW. Alright, let's get started with the Roli Studio Drums. I'm going to be using Ableton Live today and loading the Roli Studio Drums right up as a plugin in my DAW. Now I've got 3 light pad blocks here, and I'm going to use them to control different parts of the Roli Studio Drums. And if you already watched my video with the Roli Studio Player, you'll see that it's going to work the same way with different modules within the plugin that we can assign to these individual light pad blocks. So within Roli Studio Drums, I have access to different drum kits, as well as individual drum parts that I can assign to different pads. I have a sound control module here that I'm going to go ahead and assign to my leftmost light pad block. Now by default, this middle block here is already controlling the drum sounds. And I have the module at the bottom that controls the audio effects, which I will set to the rightmost light pad block. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. So now I'm fully in control of Roli Studio Drums with my light pad blocks. And let me give you some samples of what the sounds are like in Roli Studio Drums. So like I said, I have kits and parts, so I can demo a couple of the kits for you. So obviously the crispy funk drum set is like a real drum set, and I think it actually sounds pretty good for like an acoustic drum kit. One thing that I love about the way it displays the drum kits is that each color of a pad reflects a different type of sample. So the purple pads signify that it's some type of snare sound. So I've got sticks, regular hits, and a little bit of a roll. Orange lets me know it's going to be a hi-hat. Closed, stepped, and open. Blue for toms. Yellow for cymbals. And I've got my kick right here, which is selected like you can see on the screen here. And I can shape each of these individual sounds using this sound control module. So for the kick, I have control over the short decay, the tuning, and the drive tone. Let's hear some of the differences. So for this kick, it pretty much affects some of that roomier sound that goes along with the tail end of the kick. So I could get it to be a nice short, snappy kick, or I can leave that body in there. With tuning, obviously that's going to change the pitch of our drum. And drive. Can get like a really dirty sound, like you pretty much transform the sound of that kick just by cranking that drive tone. So I get that level of control over all the different drums in the kit. And what's cool is I can select which drum I'm working on right from the light pad block. So I use that top button here to switch over into this page where I'm now selecting between the kit. So let's go ahead and select the snare drum. And now I'm able to control the sound of that snare drum. I love that distortion. I'm gonna go back and add a little more punch to that kick with the drive tone, so it kind of matches that snare. Nice. And let's see what we can do with a hi-hat sound. So for different sounds, Roli Studio Drums gives you a different type of control. So for the snare and for the kick, I got a type of distortion or drive. For the hi-hat, I get access to tone. So if I want just a crispy higher end hi-hat, I can dial that in a little bit. And of course I get tune and decay as well. I'm gonna make it so these hi-hats match now. Just by switching again between the different sounds on the light pad block. Ooh, interesting. So for this hi-hat sound, the open hi-hat, I get access to a control called metal tone, which has a little bit more character than just, you know, the regular tone. So you see that I'm able to really take that kit, just the crispy funk kit, a normal acoustic sounding kit, and really build some character into it. But I did say I was going to take you through some of the different sounds of Roli Studio Drums, and we just got caught up in that kit. So let's switch the kit. Dark minimal techno. So obviously with a kit like this, we expect it to sound quite different than the crispy funk. And we're right. But, you know, it does carry along those signifiers of the colors of the pad, so that I knew right away when I loaded up the dark minimal techno kit that I had kick and snare, and I'm assuming this one is also a kick. Yep. And then I had toms up here with the blue. So right away, the visual language of Roli Studio Drums is pretty comprehensive. So yeah, already a little bit out there with some of these sounds. And what I want to do is some of these more tonal glitchy sounds, I want to see what kind of control Roli Studio Drums gives me over those. So let's play with this tone. Notice that it's completely different than the control we had over the acoustic drums or something like a snare or a kick. We do still have decay. Some FN tune, the FM tune. FM and effects. Ooh. I think that's really cool. Let's take a look at a couple of the other kits. All right, electro chill pop. I like it already. It's also worth noting that, of course, these are MPE controllers, so there's a level of dimension here where I can do more than just tap and hold. I can also drag across the controller. Which gives me access to note repeats, or it bends the pitch, or it'll extend the sound somehow. So I can get really glitchy with it and fun. Skipping through, let's take a look at a couple more of the kits. Ooh, that looks fun. Alright, that gets a lot of fun. I want to see what kind of control I have over some of these electronic sounds. Yeah, let's do that one. Decay. The tune. The chorus and the phaser. Let's see if that's the same for the other green ones. We do have some effects control on that one. I love it. But one thing about this drum kit is I wish it had a little more of a hard-hitting snare. And I just have that clap and that kind of dry snare. So if I wanted to find a new snare, I'm not locked into these individual kits. I can go through all the different parts in Roli Studio Drums and replace them one by one. So I want to replace that clap sort of sound. And let's filter the search to show us snares. And let's check out which snare will work the best. Not something acoustic. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So this snare is from the EDM Ecstasy kit, but I'm going to use it within the Grime Warp Ultra kit. It's so much fun. One thing I haven't talked about yet is the effects. It works pretty much the same way as Roli Studio Player, where on screen you'll see I have access to 4 different types of effects simultaneously within the module, but those aren't the only effects I have. So I can scroll through and select from a bunch of these different effects and then control them with the light pad block individually. So the colors match up with the screen again. I have access to the filter. I have access to the distortion. The delay. And reverb, so a type of reverb. And you'll notice that these effects are active when I'm touching this XY pad. I can change that by selecting hold next to the effect. And now I don't have to be physically touching the XY pad for the effect to be active. And in this mode on the light pad block, I can access the effects individually with their own XY pads. But if I select multi on the screen, now I have access to all 4 of the effects. Alright, so what did you think of Roli Studio Drums? For me, just like Roli Studio Player, it unlocks an amazing workflow so that I can use the Roli blocks within my DAW, but in a way that utilizes the full potential of the blocks. As always, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe for more live electronic music performances, tutorials, and content to make you a more productive producer. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.